Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today on Masechtas Bava Daf Pei Tes. We're going to begin on Pei Tes Amud Aleph, about 8 lines from the top. Omer Abaye. So we're learning about Tekanas Usha, and we continue with the words of Abaye. He says, Im Amru b'nechsi malug, Yomer b'nechsi tzayin barzel. So what does that mean? So we were talking, says Rashi, Shetuchel Meichron. If you want to tell me regarding her being able to sell her nixi malug, and we did say that the din is based on Tekanas Usha, that if she would sell her nixi malug in the lifetime of her husband and then she dies, the husband is able to take this from the lekuchos because he's considered to be like the Lokeach Rishon. Now this is when it comes to nixi malug, because after all, the husband does have rights to it at the time of while she's married, that he's able to enjoy the peros. Says Rashi, Im Omer nixi malug shetochel meichon minabal meitzim adolukuchos shahar im pichasu pichusula. If it, let's say it goes down in value, it's her loss. Vim hosir law. So Yomi b'nechsi tzayin barzel, would we say the same thing when it comes to nechsi tzayin barzel, which is part of the ksuba, which is the nedunya, the dowry that is brought into the marriage, shechnisa lo b'shuma mebeis aviha, that it was evaluated from the father's house, v'kaisan oisa b'ksubasa, v'mekabel of chasan achrayis. And on that situation, it's something where the actual man takes responsibility. V'im pichasu lo. When it comes to, as Mashain when it comes to Nixei Malug, in which if it goes up or down in value, that's on her. When it comes to Tzoyin Barzel, the din is Pumfaker, that it's on him, it's on the man. Nim Hoisir Hosir Lo, can I mean be Avamos? It's in Ksubas as well. Nixei Tzoyin Barzel, Nechasim Ha'oimdim Bachrayis. When it comes to these Nixei, which are called Tzoyin Barzel, which it's kind of like an iron sheep, that regarding its status, its unmoving status, there's a nechasim ha'oindim b'achrayis hamakabel l'shalom ke'in barzel. There's a kabbalah to pay ke'in barzel. So zeh shehu kashel yois poiches v'hasam vadi lo matzim azavna. By this she can't sell. So maybe that's the case, not nechsim malug, as her husband has a connection to the gufa karka. By the nixi malug, the husband only has a right to the peros. So how do we know that everything we're talking about is a case of nixi malug, in which, okay, the husband really doesn't have any connection to the land, therefore maybe she could sell it, but maybe we're talking about a situation where it's nixi tzoyin barzel, in which the husband does have a connection to the land, because if the land goes up or down in value, it's on him. So that's what Abai is saying over here. So even if we would say this by Nixi Malug, would we say this Nixi Tzoyin Barzel? Abai Tovas Hana Hov Yasel Yaldan Leimela Milsa Tovas Hana Leisha Havia. So he says, and this Taka could be based on the sugi before. Okay, so we mentioned about the notion of tovas hana, that a woman has a right to be able to sell the ksuba to someone else, and in the event, let's say there's Edom Zayman, regarding this, they wouldn't have to pay the entire ksuba, because tovas hana, there's a possibility that the person who buys it will get it, but in the event where, let's say, she would die, the husband would be yarish it, and therefore, because of that, the guy who would have bought this ksuba right would lose out. So it's kind of like a risk, if you will. And therefore, when we said before in yesterday's daf, and actually at the top of this Amud, that when it comes to Edom Zayman, they would actually have to pay everything rather than just the tovas hana. Now, Hoyel ve'asa liyadan, since this whole notion of tovas hana came into our hands, Nemo Milsa, let's say a matter regarding this. Tovas hana isha havya. That tovas hana actually goes to the woman. Again, that she has a right to be able to sell this ksuba to someone else, and we say, and the husband has no rights to this, she's allowed to do this. Because if in fact the tovas hana goes to the husband, so lamrola, let him, the husband, say to his wife, Edim ma avsedinoch, what loss has taken place over here by the witnesses. Ihavis mizavnis lo tovasana bal havi shakuminach. If in fact she would have sold it, it goes to the husband anyway. So she's not gaining anything in either situation. So therefore, the fact must be that she is gaining something because the tovasana does go to her. Amar Rav Shalman Mishum Deika Revach Besa. And he says, the notion of Revach Besa, says Rashi, Afil im habal noitlan, roa noach leishel machra b'chayeha. Even if it would be true that the husband would take it, it's still good for a woman to be able to sell it in her lifetime. In order that money would be coming into the house. There would be an inflow of money. Amarava, Hilchasa, so the halacha is that Toivas Hana Isha, that the Toivas Hana taka does go to the wife, Venabal Yoichel Pedis, and the husband does not eat the fruits. What does that mean? Says Rashi, Lo Amrin in Yichach Ben Karka, that he takes the land of Paris and the husband can eat the fruits. No, we don't say that. So my time, Peira Tekinu Rabbanan, Peir de Peira Tekinu Rabbanan. The only thing that the Rabbanan gave to the husband is peros, not the Peira de Peira, not the fruits of the fruits. And therefore, because of that, the husband is not able to eat the peros. Kios, because it's considered Peira de Peira. Let's look at question 1. Alma Omer b'Gemara the Shaykh Isha Mishum the Peira de Peira lo Tekina Labal. Isha hamocheres ksubasa b'tovasana. So a woman who sells her ksuva, that tovasana, so he's not entitled to those peros. Kios Rav Papa Rav Huna Rav Yeshua min Beirav. So when they came from the Beirav, he said the following: Amri Tanino Tekanas Usha. We learn regarding the din of Tekanas Usha. Ha'eved va'isha pegiyasan ra. That when it comes to an eved as well as to a woman, encountering them could be detrimental. Why? So we saw this in the Mishnah. If you hit them, so then you're going to be chayav for hitting them. On the other hand, if they hit others, you're pater. Now, if you want to tell me there's no din of tekanas usha, namely that if she would sell her nichsim malug, that after she dies, that he gets it back, the husband gets it. So tizabin nichsim malug v'titin, we should be able to say that she should just sell the nichsim malug, and then that's how you'll be able to pay. So it's clear that she has no rights to this nichsim malug, as if she sells it, her husband can take the property back due to tekanas usha. So therefore, it must be again, else tekanas usha. The din is that the husband is considered like the lekech rishon, so she really cannot sell it to someone else. And if she does, the husband can take it back. So therefore, that's the reason why it's pigiyas and ra. Where it says 1 second. Well, tameich. So according to your logic, nihi granted. Nami the isil with the kanasusha. Okay, fine. We have this din of the kanasusha. Vo matzi mazavno gamri, and she can't sell it completely because the husband can always take it back. But to zavno nixim alug b'tovas hana v'titin lay. There should at least be an element of tovas hana, because again, there's the possibility. It's only if she dies that it goes back to the husband. But what happens if the husband dies first? So therefore, maybe it will work. So there's an element of tovas hana. El de leisach and el de leislah. It's not a riot. It's just talking about where she doesn't have that which to sell. So therefore, it's not a riot. So for Gemara, utizabin ksubasa b'tavasa navatitin law. So, Taka, why don't we say that she should that she should sell her ksuba for tavasana and give it to him? So if she damaged someone, so she should sell her ksuba to give them the money for the damages. So why don't we require that? I don't understand, right? So Hamani Remeir he Gerber Asl Adam Shiashes Ishto Afil Shachas Ksuba. You can't do this because a person cannot be even with even a moment without a ksuba. Your wife has to always have a ksuba. But time of my, why not? Because we don't want the man to feel that it's easy just to get rid of her. There has to be some moment of pause so he should realize that it's a tremendous financial burden that will be upon him in the event that he wishes to get rid of his wife. Obviously, listen, at the end of the day, if he doesn't love his wife, then they'll get divorced. But the reality is, the ksuba holds him down a little bit. Hacha lo megarishla. Here, don't divorce. The megarishla, if you divorce her, divorce also hanach dezavni gavalo ksubas minei. So what will end up happening? So he'll end up collecting the ksuba from him. So ella tavas hana milininu. These are like words. Umili lumishabdi. The idea is these words, they're like mi'ilim, they're like words, and therefore it's not meshubed. There's no shibud, and that's the reason why we say that she can't just simply sell the ksuba with toivas hana. Okay, so lamalo, why not? Mili demizdavni bedinarininu. Well, it's something that's again sold with money. Ela mishum deshmul. The Shmuel hamaycher shtar chayv l'chaverai. Because if a person sells his chayv to his friend, so there's an obligation, he sells it to someone else. V'chazroi, which is unbelievable. So I'm owed money, and I sell this shtar to you, so now you can collect it. So what happens? V'chazro machol. Then I'm moichel this loan. Now I sold you this document that claims that the bearer of this document has the ability to be able to collect. But now that I was moichel alone, machal b'pu yorish moichel. The din is you can be moichel. Says Rashi, hilkach. If we say to her, go and sell this, mafsidan le'lokeach, we're going to cause a loss for the lokeach. Dehi hadra umachol ksubas l'bal. She's going to be moichel the ksuba to her husband. So if she sold the ksuba to someone else, and now this other guy has the ksuba, so she can just easily be moichel it, and says, you know what? Oh, my husband doesn't have to pay me anything. And all of a sudden, this lekeach is going to be stuck. Since we forced her to do it, so that's probably what's going to be happening. And also, she's married, so why would she do this? She could easily just simply be moichel her ksuba. So based on this din, we're concerned that a person may end up doing so. And therefore, for that reason, we say that she can't just sell her ksuba. Okay, so Amri... So we say, Zavuni Zavin, let her sell it, but Titin lay, and give it to the Nizik. V'imachale legabi bal timchale. And then we'll say, okay, if she does, fine, she does, but at least this guy will have a chance. Give the guy a chance. There is no chance. Army kol gabi bal vadi machale. V'afsidinu lahu zavina b'yadayim loy afsidinhu. We're not going to be a dayim just cause this person a loss. We're not going to do it by a lokeach, and we're not going to do it over here either, because you know this is what she's going to do. It's just obvious, it's logical that that's what's going to happen. Why don't you sell it to the person, to the one who hit, and again, use this element of tovasana as we continue to pay testament base. So if she's moichel by her husband, it's not going to be a loss. So again, the Gemara's kasha before was by the lekeach. So we don't want to do that to a lekeach because for sure she's going to do it. So we say, well, why don't we do it to the guy who got hit? Again, the guy who got hit, at least there's a chance to be able to collect. But at least he'll get something, maybe. Okay, if she's moichel, he won't. But at least there's a chance. Again, so if kol gabi bal vadi machla. There's no question she's going to be moichled anyway. Why should we have the beis din writing all these going to court, all these hours, writing documents? You know this is just going to be a total waste of time. So therefore, it's something which is not going to be done. So therefore, we're not going to tell her to sell the ksuba because we know that this is not just, she's just going to be moichel immediately afterwards. We learned in a Tosefta, v'chein he, so too she, shechava b'bala, lo hefsi the ksubasa, where there was a hit regarding her husband, so she will not lose her ksuba. Amai taz benina nihile ksubasa labal b'tavasana baha chavala. So let her sell this ksuba. So in this situation, if she's moichel to the husband, there won't be any loss. So it's a similar question, basically. So Gemara says, "Havadi Rameir Hidi Omer Asul Adam Shiashuas Ishto Fil Shuachas Ksuba." So we definitely would kick in Rameir's point that she has to have a ksuba. The time of my kadeshlo to heikal beinav. The whole reason why we want her to hold on to have a ksuba is because otherwise she's going to be easy to be divorced. Here, if he divorces her, gabi lei b'chaval minah. So in this situation, so there may be again this potential regarding her getting divorced. So therefore, because of that, we're going to say again that this will not work. She cannot sell her ksuba because if that's the case, he'll divorce her. He'll be able to collect from her ksuba. Either way, he's going to potentially divorce her to get his money from being injured. So what's the difference? If he's going to potentially, if he is able to somehow get the money, he'll divorce her to be able to get the money. What if she has a very, very large ksuba, where he's required to give her a very substantial sum of monies. So he's not going to lose so much just by the small amount. In other words, if the ksuba was very, very big, and the injury was, if the ksuba was big, and the injury was small, so then in that situation, you're not really going to do this, because if you divorce her, so what are you going to do? You're going to collect the ksuba, you're going to be able to collect the money for what was sold, but it's a small increment, a small amount in comparison to the overall ksuba. If let's say again it was much more than the actual chiyuv, nukma ksuba deraisa. So why don't we have the ksuba deraisa? Let's say of the 200 zuz, the idach, and the extra money on the ksuba to zabdin dehila b'chavole. Then the extra money will be to counter it. So maybe you can split it. Kagoin dula nefisha ksubasa niksuba deraisa. Maybe where there was not such a major difference between the extra amount and the amount of ksuba deraisa. The havi chavoli arba zuze. The hit was 4 zuz. The mishom arba zuze lu mafsed esrim b'chamisha. And because that he's not going to lose 25. Okay. Elohad esan chashem shlo timchor vihi tachtav. Just like it says, should not sell it while she is married, says Rashi. Cannot sell the ksuba oida tachta while they're married. Kachlo tafsin miksubasa. She's not going to lose her ksuba klum at all. It says klum at all, says Rashi. Mishul shum chaval of a nezek shetazik ba'oida tachtav. You're never going to lose on any of the ksuba. So kachlo tafsid vihi tachtav. Maybe she could lose out by hitting. It's a large ksuba, and therefore again it's possible that he could actually collect. So therefore maybe she should have to do this. So So here we go into again more ksuvas. So over here we're talking about a ksuva of bin dichrin. So what's that? It says Rashi. Let's look at Rashi. So it's brought down that in Rashi, benin dichrin, your male sons, that they will inherit your ksuba. Yes, more than the chelik of the brothers. So this is the case. This man this was not his only wife. He had another wife. And one ksuba was larger than the other one. One was more substantial. Now both of his wives died in the man's lifetime. V'yarshan, and he inherited. O achas b'chaya v'yarsha, or one of them died. Afal pikein lo bata ksubasa etzabaneha. The ksuba is not batal when it comes to her children. Im yeshlo ben zachar himena. Let's say she had a son from him. Ukshaboyin lachlik bandav menchasav acharmoy. So they want to divide up the property after the death. Night, and here's the key line of Rashi: Naitlin elu ksubas iman. These children will take part of the mother's ksuba. the elu ksubas iman, v'ashar cholchem b'shav. So basically, by bin dichrin, instead of splitting it all up evenly, so because one ksuba is greater than the other, so the children who were connected to this woman who has a larger ksuba, the bin dichrin, are able to collect more because the ksuba is more than the other children from the other wife. Then after the ksuba's elements have been paid off, and then of course the rest of the estate is evenly divided. The enyocholin b'neha keyemes, though other children cannot say anonita ksubas imenu she kabalos chayv yatem al titlu shein leimchen l'ksuba shari bal yarasha. That really your husband is the yarish, so therefore you shouldn't be able to do this. They can't say that when it comes to bin dichrin. Okay, so therefore, continuing, skipping a couple words. Okay, so therefore, what are we saying? We're talking about a case where you have a ksuba's bin dichrin. So even though it's possible, you can say, well, the wife should be able to do this and sell the ksuba, and therefore the husband should have rights to it. And he gets divorced, he can get it. But the point is, there's ksubas different. So even if, let's say, she dies, it's not that the husband has full rights to this, because her children also have a connection to this ksuba. Okay, let's keep it simple like that. Just like selling the ksuba to others, we'll have sida ksubas bin dichrin. Her children won't lose out. That's the din. My taima zuzihu di ansuha, because she needed the money. That's why she sold her ksuba rights, because she needed the money. So too, if she sold the ksuba to her husband, if she sold the ksuba to her husband, same thing. We'll have see the ksuba's been dichrim. We just say that the husband, she felt an obligation to have to sell, and therefore, if that's the reason why, by ksuba's bin dichrin, we're not going to say there's going to be a loss. Okay, let's stop here for a second. We're going to continue. We will continue, but let's just see question 2. So you have a woman that hit others. Why can't she sell to others? Well, she just pay it off. So she can't sell it to others because the guy's going to lose out. The lekech's going to lose out. And also she can't sell to her husband. Okay. Okay, that's that. Let's see, maybe another question. Okay, that's going to be Shem Ba'ayin. We'll get to Okay. Question TB18, maybe. Hamoicheres ksubasa b'tavas hana he'im habal oichel peres hamekach kadin nichsim alug umadua. So I don't know what I wrote. Let's see what I wrote. Acher tekanas usha habal yochel haitzim yadol kuchais v'hu yochel limchol kol hachayvais. Okay, that's not completely wrong, but I'm wondering if they also wanted this piece. That Hilchas Avos Hanol Isha V'Enabal Eichel Paris, my time pair to Kinu Rabbanon, pair to pair lo to Kinu Rabbanon. Okay, so this is talking about B'Toivos Hana, right? It says B'Toivos Hana. Okay, so that in fact is not the right answer. The answer is that she sells it, and the Toivos Hana, again, it's shaykh that she may die first, and therefore, in that situation, that person won't get anything. But the point is, there's Toivos Hana, that it is shaykh that this person could benefit from the ksuba. If they get divorced, or that he dies before her, the husband dies before the wife. So in that situation, this lokeach does have the land, and the din is that he's entitled to the land, and the husband is not entitled to the paris, because that's peri to peri. Okay, that's probably what they're asking for. Okay, All right, let's continue. So, lema tekanas usha tanahi. Let's say this whole notion that if she sells a nixim alug, that the husband has the right after she dies to take it back is actually a machlokes tanoim. Why? The tani chada avdei malug yoytz mishen v'ayin. When it comes to avdei malug, so this is like nixim malug, but the eved is considered to be the property that was brought in. This is an eved kanaini. So the din is yoytz mishen v'ayin. We know, as we saw already, it's in Psukim Beferish, but also in the first parak in Kedushin, that, as Rashi says, Hepila hias shinai, if she knocks out his tooth or blinds his eye, so in that situation, Yoshim Mishen Ba'ayin Leisha. So if she's the one that does it, because she's the one that brought him in, right? She's the one that brought in the Eved Kanani into this marriage. So therefore, the din is that she would have an obligation to free him of a lo ish, but not her husband. And the reason is, Rashi says, in gufa kanilo, because the whole notion of nixim elug is it's her land, and the husband gets peros. So the guf, if you will, if literally like gufa karka, the eved kanani is hers, and therefore she's like the master. So if she blinded or knocked out his tooth, then he'll go free, but not if her husband does. That's one shot. That's one bryce, if you will. In another place it says that if the woman, even if the woman is the one who does it, he still won't go free. So Savrua de Kol Yama Kin Peros Kin Gufdami. Again, what do we see? The husband has a kinyan peros. So his kinyan may be not so strong that it's considered to be kinyan guf, that he also has connection to the eved himself. So if everyone holds that the husband's kinyan of peros is not so strong that it's considered like he has also a kinyan on the guf, so ma'abah kamifagi. Demandi oimer. You can obviously understand what the maskan is going to be, but let's just in the havamina assume that everyone holds that kinyan peros is lav kinyan guf. So my lab hakamifagi. Demandi oimer leisha leislei tekanasusha. The one who says that the woman has knocks out the tooth or whatever, that every kanani goes free, is because they don't have the kanasusha, because this eved is considered to be nixim elug, if you will. And therefore, because of that, because it's not land, but it's considered to be the same category of malug property. So therefore, because of that, if you don't hold up the kanasusha, which means the husband doesn't really have rights if she would sell to the lekeach, so therefore, the husband doesn't have a right to take him back. So therefore, that's the reason why he'll go free. And that's maybe the logic. So let's look at Rashi. That in the event, again, the woman also who knocks out the tooth, still he doesn't go free. Obviously, the husband knocking out the tooth, let's say, will not cause the Eved Kanan to go free. Mamish, because he doesn't have rights to the body, and therefore certainly he won't go free if the husband knocks him out. But mishum isha nami lo nafki, why? The olam shibuda de mehavi kikinyan aguf. That maybe that this is already, I guess, into the answer, that it's already that maybe it's kikinyan aguf. Okay. Lo de kol yalma isu tekanas usha. El kan kainam tekana kana achar tekana. So again, so one answer pashit is before the tekana, once after the tekana. Before the tekana, so she knocks out the tooth, he goes free. After the tekana, not. The e-boy say the achar tekana. The isuhu tekana susha. El mandi yamar ishul ish my time could rabbi yamar rabba. So why do we say if again all of this that there's a din of tekana susha? So then why would anyone say that the isha would cause him to go free? My time could rabba yamar rabba, as we continue on Sadim and Aleph. Hektish, chametz v'shichor, which we see this many times. There's a lot of Rashis here. We'll see them in a second. Mafkin midi shibud. Okay, which is probably where we will stop. We'll stop there, but let's spend a few minutes looking at these Rashis. Hektish, also shor apotiki l'bal chayv. So what happens? You owe someone money, and you say, I'm going to pay you back, but this ox, which is the value of how much I owe you, will be an apotiki, which means you can collect directly, you can take this ox at a certain point. This borrower goes and vekdishu kedushas haguf mizbech, and he takes this animal, the shore, which he said was going to be no potiki for his loan. He's makdashit. Hafkir shibude demilva umutul mizbech. So we say that it's the shibud on this loan is removed, and now this carbon is actually a carbon, and it can go in the mizbech. Ve'enu mishum gezel. It's not like he stole from the malva. Sheshvach hektish mafkiyoi. Because the din is that when it comes to hektish, it's able to be removed. Okay, and we'll just skip a few to the next Rashi. Chametz. So too when it comes to chametz on Pesach. Nachri shehil v'es Yisrael al chamtzoi. V'lo harninu etzloi. So what happened? So you have a nachri that borrowed from Yisrael, and he gave him his chametz. So Yisrael gave the loiv of chametz as again almost like an opotiki. V'lo harninu etzlo. They didn't make a declaration before. The mechuster gobainu shahay oimin a chametz bebeisa shel Yisrael. So the chametz was in the house of Yisrael. Ve'enu nachri lov el shibud. Kishaba ace biuro, that when it comes time to the burning of the chametz, so there's this obligation that he's supposed to pay up this loan, if you will. Mafki Israel chametz as a shibud, hanacher v'chav Yisrael levairo. So the din is the Yisrael has to destroy it, as it says in the Psachim. Nachri shehilvi liYisrael al chemso muter bahana lachar Pesach shnasu b'mashkain biad nachri. So he gave it. It's talking about it was given. It was biad nachri. Okay, the lo mechuser gabayu. So our case is mechuser gabayu because it was in the hands of the Yisrael. Okay, and then lastly shichor. Also avdo patiku. This is really the whole case over here. That you made your eved into a patiki. Again, you borrowed money and you gave him this eved with shichro, and then you freed him. It's actually a good freedom. And you have to collect mamakam acher. You have to pay someone else. So this guy they do go free. So therefore, this is the point, that when it comes to shichur, it's mafkin midei shibud. Even if, let's say, there is some shibud, that there's a connection that the husband has rights to this eved kanaini because of the kanasusha of nichsim alug, it doesn't make any difference, because if she knocked his tooth out, then he's going to go free. And therefore, that's the din. Tanya avdi. So let's look at question 3. Tanya, avdi mulug yotzim shen ve'ayin leish v'lo leish keitzim etartzin lo deloy tikshi lo tekanas usha. So one could be pashit. One is before the kanasusha, one's after kanasusha, or shani shechor mafkia midi shiba debal. Even though it's a shiba debal, doesn't matter. It's still going to be removed. Okay, so again, that was question 3. Now I know we have another question over here. Question TA 17. Matzad shibudi malug yoitz mishen ve'ayin leisha. Why would it go out? Afil achar tekanas usha. Umatzad she'en yoitz leisha afil koidim tekanas usha. Okay, so the reason why even after tekanas usha the din should be that she should go free is basically what we just said, which is mishum de shecher mafkim midi shibud. However, the tzad she'en yoitzin the kinyan paris kekinyan haguf. So if you hold kinyan paris is kekinyan haguf, so therefore the husband who has rights to the paros, so she would not be able, it would not work. So this is again TA 17, right? So part of it is again the top we just finished, because when it comes to shichur, which is what we're talking about, so is mafkia the shibud, I'm just going to write over here, of the baal. So I'm understanding that the shibud is on the husband, at least when that comes to that. However, again, it's also totally on whether you hold kinyan paris is kinyan haguf. So if you would hold that kinyan paris is kinyan haguf, so therefore she certainly will not be able to sell even before tekanas usha. Okay. Let's see. TB. Nope. And now let's just end by looking at maybe a couple of Rabbi Gibber's questions. Okay. Amai havi isha shechavu b'acher patura Mishnah is speaking where she has no nichsim alug. I think that's the right answer. Actually, let's see. That was question 12. Question 11. Lama spherely Rabbi Huda debeusha shemachnas malug shelo umeisa kodim habal benachasim shel bal loyim rinin kamo le'el. I did this before. Loikeach kaina ma'ishna hacha ma'ishna hasam. Here's Tekanas Usha, which gives the husband the right to get the land back, but there was no Tekanas Usha for the father, right, in the case of the father of the son. Okay, that was in yesterday's daf. Question 13. She will certainly be moichel it, and to trouble the basin for nothing, this we don't want to do. Beautiful. Maskanas Gemara, havi hivshit b'braisa kashem shelo timchor v'hi tachtav kachol tifsid v'hi tachtav. So really, if she has more than ksuba deraisa, she could sell part of it and retain the other part. But this is saying for the ksubas bin indichrin, the husband can't make them lose out and must give them the full amount. And then question 15, 16, Esu gibel devarim kamarava mafkin midishibud hektish chametz shechor adkan.